So I've been asked the question repeatedly for months now. Hey, Josh, when is this market going to change? This is unbearable. How long is this market going to go on like this? Sellers are happy because their houses are worth a lot more money now. But there's some interesting problems happening with this market and the reasons for this low inventory. A few weeks ago, the CEO of Redfin went on Twitter and he gave a series of 15 tweets with some interesting facts about what's going on in the market. So I'm going to share those with you. Let's share my screen and I'll bring this up. Here we go. Number one, it has been hard to convey through anecdotes or data how bizarre the U.S. housing market has become. For example, a Bethesda, Maryland homebuyer working with Redfin included in her written offer a pledge to name her firstborn child after the seller. She lost. Okay, buyers are desperate right now for homes. They're doing crazy things when they write their offers. Some markets, everybody's got low inventory pretty much, but some markets are extremely, extremely low. Let's move on to number two. There are now more realtors than listings. Okay, more realtors than listings. Well, you know, in a crazy market, people get the idea they want to go get their real estate license. It's not extremely hard to get licensed. It's one of the toughest jobs in the world, but 20% of all the people that have a license right now have got their license this year. So they've had their license for 1 year or less. So that tells you about that. Okay, next, number three, inventory is down 37% year over year to a record low. The typical home sells in 17 days, a record low. Home prices are up a record amount, 24% year over year to a record high. And still homes sell on average for 1.7% higher than the asking price, another record. Okay, so the reason is buyers are willing to pay because of the low inventory, because we also have extremely low interest rates. So you can get a lot more money because of the low rate right now. The other thing is there's no real new construction going on locally, and construction costs are way up. So if a buyer sees a home that's been recently remodeled or it's got everything the buyer is looking for, it's way better to finance that house than it is to buy a house and then come out of pocket and fix it up. So that's why that's going on. Okay, next, number four. But in two of America's largest cities, inventory has increased. In New York by 28%, in San Francisco by 77%. San Francisco hasn't had an inventory increase this large since 2008. And still in both markets, prices are increasing. Okay, people are moving to more affordable areas. That's basically the gist of it, because you can work remotely now. So because you can work remotely, you don't have to live in the big city. Number five, okay, in 2020, new construction permits were down 13% in DC and New York, 40% in Los Angeles, 48% in Chicago, 50% in Seattle, 79% in San Francisco. Permits were up 25% in Miami, 56% in Vegas, 96% in Greenville, 122% in Detroit, 246% in Knoxville. Okay, so basically we have more data showing that people are moving out of the big cities and they're looking for some elbow room and they want to get into these smaller towns because they can work remotely. All right, moving on to number six. Lumber prices are up 300%. Okay, this is due to supply chain shortages. That's my take on that. Number seven, in Redfin's annual survey of nearly 2,000 homebuyers, 63% reported having bid on a home they hadn't seen in person. Okay, that's nothing unusual. I don't know why Glenn Kelman's all shocked that people don't want to fly from one state to another state when they're relocating. We have all kinds of technology in our hands now. Our iPhones, we have amazing pictures. We've got videos. We've got 3D scans where it looks like you're walking through the house. I mean, you can practically see everything. So that shouldn't be a shocker. People have been buying homes like that forever because you're moving from one state to another. You're not going to buy a plane ticket and fly out just to write one offer. Okay, next. Number 8, in an April survey of 600 redfin.com users who had relocated in the past year, about 2/3 of the people who moved got a house the same size or bigger, but about the same proportion, 2/3 spent the same or less on housing. Okay. They relocated. 2/3 of those people moved, got a house the same size or bigger, but about the same proportion, 2/3 spent the same or less on housing. That's because they're moving to more affordable areas. Number 9, even though most of the people who moved got a bigger home, 78% reported having the same or more disposable income after their move. Idaho home prices could triple and still seem affordable to a Californian. It's just more of the same. Their buyers are moving to more affordable areas. Number 10, for low tax states, 4 people move in for every 1 who leaves. For Texas, this ratio is 5-1. For Florida, it's 7-1. Cities and states have no leverage to raise taxes. After many promised new money for social justice, the federal government will have to fund long-term investments. So, interesting fact, if you were a lower wage earner, then typically we see people moving out of California looking for more affordable housing. However, we are seeing a lot of influx of higher wage earners moving into California because they're making enough money, they don't mind paying the taxes, okay? All right, next. Number 11, this migration to lower cost areas may lead to lower workforce participation. For many families, Redfin has relocated. The money saved on housing costs lets one parent stop working. A wave of Redfin customers are retiring early. So that's just based on the cost of living. Okay, that's strictly because of the cost of living. It's cheaper to live in some other states. And then you have one parent that doesn't have to work anymore, or one spouse. Number 12, lenders are calling employers to confirm that the home buyer will have permission to work remotely when the pandemic ends. Rates are lower for loans on primary residences, and the lender also wants to make sure the borrower actually plans to work after getting the loan. I think that as we move on from COVID, I think people will start returning to the office soon. If not full-time, they'll probably be showing up a few days a week. I think companies are going to start requiring people to get back into the office. There's something about that person-to-person contact, face-to-face, and also that buzz you get when you're in the office, when everybody's, shucking and jiving and making their moves. So I think that's what's going to happen. All right. Number 13, the average housing budget for out-of-towners moving to Nashville was $720,000. 50% higher than the locals' $485,000 budget. It used to be coastal elites who worried that every adult in the family had to win a career lottery just to afford a home. Now that feeling may have spread. Okay, out of town, if you're coming from California and you're looking to move to Tennessee, you're willing to pay a higher price in this multiple offer market. And those towns like, in Idaho and Texas and Florida and Tennessee, North Carolina, they seem cheap to us. So these buyers are coming in from out of state and they're pushing the locals who want to buy in their own market out because the locals aren't going to spend $200,000 over the asking price when they've seen their neighborhood sitting at $400,000. They're not going to pay $600,000. So that's what's going on there. Sellers from over here, we just find it a bargain to move out and see it, how much more house you can get. All right. Number 14, it's not just income that's K-shaped, but mobility. 90% of people earning $100,000 plus per year expect to be able to work virtually, compared to 10% of those earning $40,000 or less per year. The folks who need low-cost housing the most have the least flexibility to move. That's because higher earners have more money and the ability to work from home more often, and the kind of jobs that lower wage earners are getting are the kind of jobs where you can't do them from home. Okay, last one, number 15. An investor recently said, with an ancient touch of awe, but also greed, that one source of America's miraculous economic recovery was the bounty of land itself. We have more room to grow than we ever imagined. We just have to make sure that benefits everyone. So the gist of it is, folks, this housing market is complex. I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I know the future, or I can tell you that, oh yeah, we're going to be running up prices forever. It's not going to go on like this forever. I don't know when it's going to end. There are no indicators that I'm seeing anytime soon that the market is going to change. I'm watching the inventory. If you watch my videos, I'm tracking them every 7 days. I give you guys the stats. We have low interest rates still. There's no new construction. The cost to build is super high, which makes it, better to buy a pre-existing home. And this Redfin CEO, Glenn Kelman, he doesn't seem to know what the heck's going on either. So let me give you guys a quick rundown of what's going down in the Conejo Valley. And I'll show you the stats. Coming soon 6, new listing 57, price change 31, back on market 9, active under contract 55, pending 51, closed 82, expired 2, canceled 3, hold 5, withdrawn 4. So like I said, more of the same. New listings at 57. Okay, not a super high number. Active under contracts, those have just gone into escrow, 55. Pendings are 51, and closed, look at this, 82. So we're still seeing the closed sales outpacing the new listings. Okay, things are still selling a lot faster than they're coming on the market. So thank you guys for tuning in. Remember, please like and subscribe to my channel. I'm Josh Brenner with Living in Westlake Village. If you have any desire to talk to me about anything real estate, please don't hesitate to reach out, call me, text me, email me. I'll get back to you. I would love to talk to you. Thanks again for tuning in, and have a great day. Bye-bye.